Roll call, please.
Supervisor
Tonight's
Vastola.
order. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Vastola,
Present.
Councilman Stat,
Here.
Councilman Grunwell,
Here.
Councilwoman Crowley,
Present.
Councilman Mitchell,
Here. I'd like to have our town attorney Sheila lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The board's pleasure to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Carries. Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to recess into a Board of Health. Need a second. Second. I'll beat you. Those in
I'm
favor?
sorry, who did the second?
Terry.
Thank you.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Carries. We're now at Board of Health approving a septic placement variance at 5472 County Road 37, Hemlock, New York. We have Bill Grove on board. And any discussion at the board's pleasure?
The only thing that I noticed is there are trees in very close proximity to the new raised septic. And I assume that Bill and Joe have looked at them and said it's gonna work.
Yeah, you're right. There's some fairly large maples there in the neighborhood of where the new septic's going to go, but I think we can fit it in and not really affect the roots of those big trees. We don't want to have to take any of them down, and we're not proposing to with the new plan. I think it fits all, and it's tight, but it fits.
Okay, and they won't grow into the raised septic, cause trouble.
It's not in a long time. I can't say that they won't ever, but with the system being up, essentially above existing grade, the roots generally don't want to grow up into the system. But it's not ideal, but I think it doesn't warrant taking the trees out at this point.
Okay.
And there's really nowhere else on the property to put the system where it would meet any kind of setback requirement to the well. So that's really, kind of, it forces us to be down in that front yard.
Thank you.
It's also, a big improvement over the existing system that's been there a long time and is severely undersized.
Move to approve. I move.
I'll second.
Those in favor? Aye. That carries. We'll recess from Board of Health. And Bill, could you stay on a
Yeah.
moment?
Sure.
Can you just we're gonna talk about it later, but just a little feedback on our Canadice town code compared to New York State code, and then your experience working with other town codes. Could you just briefly give us a quick summary of that, please?
Sure. Yeah, I believe that Canadice, it's the only town that I work in that has this additional restriction of having to be 80 feet from a property line with a septic system. The state, in their design manual, the State Department of Health, the minimum for new construction is 10 feet from a property line. But in cases of repair replacement like this and any of the other ones that I've come to the board for relief on, they would even let you encroach on that 10 feet without any kind of issues. It's generally up to local code enforcement to decide whether or not that's a feasible way to do it. But in some cases, in a lot of cases, we're stuck with very tiny lots, most of the time poor soils. And so we try to do the best we can with what we have. And a lot of times that means encroaching even on that 10-foot setback requirement. So to have a requirement to be 80 feet is a little bit on the extreme side, in my opinion. And I think it goes back to Before engineers were involved in system designs, wells had to be 20 feet from property lines, septics had to be 80 feet, that's how your code reads, so that you automatically have 100 feet of separation between, a well on one property and a septic on the neighboring property. But now that engineers are involved and, we have to take all that into account when we design a system. I think that the 80 feet is kind of an archaic rule and, forces us to come before you as a Board of Health to seek these variances. Quite often, it's, kind of becoming a monthly occurrence as people make
Correct.
improvements to their septics.
And to that end, I'm proposing that we ask the planning board to look at that code tonight. So
Good
thank you
move.
for that
I like
feedback.
it. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any questions for Bill while he's on? Because we're gonna be talking about this later, but just since you were on board, I figured we'd get a little expertise. Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Okay, vote for reconvening as a town board.
Motion to reconvene as a town board.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Up to public hearings now pertaining to the adoption of local law for a tax exemption for volunteer firefighters, ambulance workers living in the town of Canvas. The board's pleasure.
Make a motion to approve it.
1 second,
I'll second.
discussion.
Because that's a local law, you should, individually say yay or nay.
Bastola, yay.
Stat, yay. Grunwald, yay.
Crowley, yes.
Mitchell, yay.
Thank you.
Yay. That is approved. We have the resolution. Thank you. Privilege of the floor, had Richmond Rec here last month. It was a success. Everyone had fun. They can't, concerts presented by Honey Eye Rotary, there's 8 of them. They start July 5th, they go to the 23rd. Information's in your packets. More privileges of the floor later. I did get ZBA minutes this afternoon at 3 o'clock, so you did get that email. I forwarded it, and I passed around a hard copy that I believe everyone signed on. Any questions on communications? Works, town clerk.
Paying to the supervisor for the general fund, $1,904.
Did not hear you.
Eileen, yeah, we can't hear you.
I think we need to do a little more testing with this setup. Paying to the supervisor for the general fund, $1,904.79. For water billing, $8,391. DEC decals, $240.92. And animal population control fund, $9 for a total disbursement of $10,545.71.
I'll move to approve the town clerk's report.
I'll second it.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That carries, thank you. Historian, no report. Code enforcement officer did supply a report, and club permit does go live June 20th. Our new software.
And the other thing that I would like to know is, as a result of us, now giving residents the opportunity to apply online versus paper. The deputy CEO, Rich Jockey, had to, update and revise every one of the applications. I had no idea how many applications there were, and I assumed that it was hours worth of work. I just wanted to, compliment him on that work.
He did a good job. He came in on Saturday, he's been here on a few Saturdays catching up on things. Yep.
Oh, he'd already done it well before that.
Okay,
Which backed
thank
him up.
you.
Okay, planning board, Ted Mainland.
Hey, you have the minutes in your packet. We met May 20th. Just one thing of interest, from the county planning board. Town of Naples has instituted a moratorium on any renewable energy in construction. Anything, put that into effect. It's a 6-month moratorium, I believe, and it's planning to extend that, so. I don't know what they're doing and looking at their local laws, but you can't go on with a much moratorium forever, so. But that's new. Last month's.
Is that
You know,
solar and-
appropriating that?
Solar, wind,
Everything.
geo, also, I believe, I'm not sure about geo, but I think geo was included. I do not know what's driving it.
Victor also has put a moratorium in place on solar. For the second,
The second time, but not on other renewable.
right,
So that's kind of curious that they're doing that, but. So the county planning board sent it back to them.
Anything on what's driving that?
No. Steve did not report on who was giving.
Roughly.
The reason for that was. Other than that, we had just a regular meeting. We had a subdivision application from Terry Peters. You know, Peters family's been in town for years, just slowly selling off properties. In fact, Terry has moved out of town himself. He still owns property down there. On West Lake. It was a pretty standard subdivision, no issues there, and that was approved. And the only last thing is, two things. We are still looking for an alternate member for the planning board. If you know of anyone of any interest at all, have them contact us. As well as we're looking for a representative to the Ontario County Planning Board. That person does not have to be on our planning board. It's anyone in town that might be interested. It's a once a month meeting, get a little extra training, you know, and there's there's a stipend that goes along with that as well as mileage. You know, anyone at all that's interested, leave their names to me or contact them yourself. Our current representative his term is up in July, so we're getting close. That's all
I have a quick
Yes.
question, Ted.
Yes.
So this person that's the liaison to the county planning board, how would they report to you what's going on without actually going to the planning board meeting?
Well, we would have to work that out. Ontario County does issue minutes of their meetings. But it is nice to have had someone there in person to just pick and choose, you know, which things they want to bring back. So we'd have to work out a communications method, but we could do that.
Okay, thank you.
So we have.
Yep, and Cornell Cooperative Extension is reaching out to youth, so now we're looking at teenagers that might be interested. So
My experience. Years of development, the Ontario County Planning Board. It's one of the more difficult boards to get passed. But if they didn't go for your project, it took a super majority. It's called super majority.
Town level.
It's a town level,
Yes.
and that became pretty touchy. So. I think the county planning board is a pretty serious board.
yes, they are.
It's interesting. Also,
Yeah.
know what's going on around the county, so.
Right.
Anybody with any interest, let us know, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. ZBA, I did forward the minutes to you today, once I received them. Highway Superintendent Jeremy.
Alrighty, been doing a lot of prep work for our road projects for this summer. Got everything tentatively scheduled. Obviously, it's weather dependent, get a rain here between now and then we'll get pushed further back on the schedule, but Lawrence Hill, east and west, we've done all the ditching up there. I've got Lexamat has been delivered. We'll start working on that once we get, 3 or 4 days of, decent weather without any risk of rain. Yeah. And paving is scheduled for their July 24th. Orange Hill Road South, the dead end portion, we're up there the past couple of days, starting at the dead end, reconstructing the turnaround, the snowplow turnaround, and we'll start doing some ditching tomorrow. And our reprofile grinding is scheduled for the first week of August. Lawrence Hill North is scheduled to go August 12th. That's gonna be a cold mix pave overlay. So we've been hauling the stone that we need for that, and we'll be up there ditching here before too long. We also helped the towns of East and West Bloomfield with their chip sealing projects for 3 days. Did some asphalt wedging on Upper and Lower Holmes Road and prep for chip sealing in the end of July. And since I wrote this report, the first round of roadside mowing is complete. We did experience a couple days delay where we had breakdown issues, and he's currently at the shop. We're gonna change out the blades so we can get back out there for round number 2, which typically takes a lot longer because he's doing the entire right of way, not just 2 passes. So we had a close call with the shoulder machine that we share between the 5 towns. The town of Richmond was using it. And smelled some smoke and looked back and saw a little bit of flame. The alternator seized up on it. Luckily, they caught it and were able to put the fire out. So all we need to do is replace the alternator and the serpentine plug. Which wasn't that was a $300 alternator on that thing. So, it's also working on 2 more WQIB grant opportunities, 1 more for FlexMat and 1 for live edge snowplow blades that we've started using on our snowplows. They are twice as much as the normal setup, so if we can get any help to pay for them, that's definitely a win. And we've all done our mandatory safety refresher training. Teamed up with the town of Richmond and the town of Bristol and split the cost on that. So that covers our workplace violence prevention and the New York State Department of Labor sexual harassment. That's all I got.
Thank you.
So I see in the report that you need a letter of support from the town.
Yes, for the both of the grant opportunities.
Okay.
Just
That's already drafted.
Yeah, okay.
basically stating that the town will.
Want to wait for today's meeting to be over.
Great.
Only for the snowplow blades.
Not for
It
the
could have
FlexMat.
in-kind match for the flexible. Right, Jeremy?
Yep. That's correct.
Yep. Very late, Terry.
So I'm just gonna hit what I consider to be the most important things. You've all got my report. But in spite of the mild winter, the water quality, last week and this week is still very good. The water clarity is 13, 14 feet. The lake level is only about an inch or 2 above the weir. And just as a side note, that didn't have it in my report, Town of Richmond did get the permit to do the Mill Creek work in mid-May. And they have selected a contractor and expect to start in early July. And once they get that completed or nearly completed, they'll request an emergency permit to remove the shale out of the outlet. Just as a side note. I wrote my monthly report a week ago or 6 days ago. expect to see Gliatrichia soon. This morning I took samples and looked at them under a microscope. Not only do we have Gliatrichia, we have Anabina. Both of those are blue-green. And the Gliatrichia is right on schedule. The Anabina is about a month early. We normally don't see that until July, which is probably the mild winter. Had a fish die off week 10 days ago. I've reported it to the DEC. They're gonna try to get an appropriate sample. They have to get a freshly dead fish where the gills are still red to send to Cornell to have them evaluated. And on Friday, May 31st and Wednesday, June 5th, the DEC stocked approximately 33,000 walleye fingerlings, continuing to manage the lake as a walleye fishery, one of the best in New York State. And Kate, this is a test. Do you recognize where I took this picture? It's about 500 feet from your house. So they put 33,000 walleye fingerlings in your cove.
I'll go out tomorrow morning and look.
So, take a good look at it. That is about 500 feet from your house.
So,
Yeah. Um. I got an update from Betsy Landry, last Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm not sure when it was. Even though the county has fulfilled all the requirements for the grant contract for the boat cleaning station, the state has not given the county a signed contract yet, which means the county cannot order the equipment until they do. And if we don't get a signed contract from the state by the end of June, we may not see this until 2025. Oh, it'll happen. It always does. But the state varies anywhere. These grant awards are announced in December, and it usually takes until April, maybe May. This is June, so it's not terribly late, but it's on the late side. And I'm sure you remember late last summer, I was talking about European frogbit, an invasive aquatic plant was found in the inlet. And we have partnered with the FLCC Mueller Field Station team to organize 3 community volunteer European frogbit pulls. One was last Wednesday. The next one will be Friday, June 21st, followed by Wednesday, July 3rd. And it's very important to get that out of there. So I'm looking at Kate. So this is an opportunity, Kate. For all kayakers to volunteer. The college will supply the boats and the training.
how are you communicating that?
Oh, I've communicated it on Facebook. I communicated it on the blog. It's on the college Facebook page. If you went to the task force blog, you know how to go there. You will find a hot link that you can just click on. You will find it there. That's my update, Chris.
Exactly, I'm gonna hang something in the car.
Thank you. I didn't do that. I just copied. It works.
It does.
It does work. I tested it.
Interesting. Can't see.
I expect they're gonna get a lot of college students voluntary. Yeah, because they're promoting it at the college. But the community is part of it, yeah. And they're gonna provide the kayaks, the canoes and the training. You just sign up and you'd go down to the field station, go in there. You wouldn't kayak from your house down there. You would go down to the field station, get trained, and you'd get a kayak and a paddle and away you'd go. Sorry about that. I'm done.
Okay.
So I have something to mention at this point. Christopher did communicate with Betsy Landry to ask about that dollar increase for the barge assistant. So she did tell him that was okay with her. So what I'm going to do is email her a copy of last month's minutes, because we did not change her resolution. We just approved in
Eileen,
our minds that the dollar extra was okay.
Eileen, I have in my hands an updated resolution that we met earlier today and she
Oh, she
emailed.
wants
it
an
to me.
updated, she wants an updated resolution?
No, she updated her resolution. Establishing the
So
post.
She didn't
So-
just want the minutes?
That'd be helpful, but I thought I would have a updated resolution from her, draft resolution.
Okay, well then the board will have to approve that.
Okay. No, it's not our resolution.
Yeah, it's her resolution.
That's the county's resolution. I'll make sure they see it.
Right, but what are you saying about the resolution then?
That I have an amended resolution from the county based on our conversation.
Right, which means the board has to approve it then rather than just me sending the minutes to her. Which is fine, I don't care whichever way you want to do it. But if she sent you an amended resolution, you guys have to approve it.
I make a motion to approve the amended county resolution.
I'll second it.
Those in favor?
Aye.
That carries. I'll pass this around just so you see it. That's what she sent a few hours ago. Thank you. Thank you, Eileen.
Yep,
Holly, thank you for your patience. Her report was submitted and if she has anything extra to add, she may. Okay. Water district operations, Kate.
So water, pumped for May was around 150,000 gallons higher. And as I've reported, monthly this year, water consumption is up. And, you know, everything looks normal, because the billing is also up. The other thing I wanted to mention is, the Neptune 360, the online meter reading system, for the town of Canadice Water District we're going through training and installing the new application on the 19th of June. Joe has the two iPads, one for the water district, one for cloud permit, and they are both being set up and ready. And we are going to have them set up so that they are backups for one another. And then we'll take one of them and put the wireless network access on one of the iPads. So we're in good shape.
So Kate, this is a would be nice request.
Yeah.
Just a would be nice. But I'm always curious how May of 2023 compared to May of 2024. So my would be nice request would be, could they add the month of the previous year here so you could see whether it's going up or down?
I actually have a report that I can produce for the board showing the last 3 years. So
I wasn't trying to create extra work. I just thought they could add it.
it's not extra work. I track it monthly. It's part of the water reconciliation report.
So, look at trends.
Yeah.
Thank you.
and that's June 19th that we're doing that training, Wednesday, the 19th.
Right.
Federal holiday.
Yeah, everybody's gonna be here.
And I just got a text from Holly. She wasn't able to unmute herself, but I guess nobody had any questions for her.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Financial reports have been submitted. Board's pleasure.
And thank you for the information on the sales tax.
Yeah, that was my next item once we're done with the reports. But Councilman Mitchell asked about the sales tax formula. So essentially it is the real estate and the population, but more information based on 2004 in this grid here. And we're lucky that it happened that year. I'll tell you that.
Why?
Just because we were, if you look at the numbers, we were bumped up a little higher. worked out, so that's the basis for it now, and you will notice. That it changed, the county got a larger share later, and it had nothing to do with that. Very transparent, and the cities automatically get $650,000. Thank you. The information's all public knowledge, I'm sure. Also, just a small item, postage is increasing and it's about 7.8%. I did see Eileen bought fourth quarter water bill postage, but how about taking a look at every department head ordering postage, because rates are gonna go up 7.8% and extra ounces are gonna go up 13%.
Oh, what are you gonna do, pre-order
We can't up until July 14th.
for what length of time?
That's a good question. I'm
Rubber stamps, aren't they?
Pardon me?
There's rubber stamps. Doesn't matter.
Exactly.
You know. The extra ounce, the postcards. It could save us some money then,
Sure.
otherwise we got that increase the Facebook next year.
Right.
It's an easy one, low hanging fruit.
So
Yeah.
we can purchase quite a few in advance. That's not a problem. And maybe by the end of the year, I guess we could look at a machine that would go in the copy room and everybody would have to put in their own code to use postage. I believe it's less expensive if you're using one of those machines.
Pitney Bowes, absolutely. Yes. And then it's very much more controlled instead of having a huge inventory, yeah. So if we could do that before July 14th, that would be great.
No, I don't think so. Well,
Well-
we can buy the extra postage, yeah.
I think we could buy the electronic postage ahead of
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Bank it.
No machine by July 14th.
Good idea. Good idea.
And save some money. And also control.
So who's gonna do that pre-buy? Eileen? Eileen, if you could check with Caitlin, our comprehensive plan.
That's on my list, exactly.
Make sure they're informed of the increase, so.
That's why, yes.
Because they're getting close to mailings.
Yeah, it was announced in April. I just wanted to bring it to the board's attention and also,
They could put in a voucher too to purchase some now.
That's what I
That
was,
wouldn't be a
Absolutely.
problem.
yeah, that's easy.
I'll mention to Caitlin.
Yep, so she's doing postcards, extra ounces. Regular first class meal. Thank you. Okay, unfinished. Business, did begin union negotiations with the highway department. And our next negotiation will resume July 2nd, and Mark Stat has offered to. help
Did you
with
do
those.
your financial report? I'm sorry.
I did.
Did I hear a motion in a second to approve it?
Of
I-
course not.
I asked for the board's pleasure, but
I make a motion to approve the financial. report.
somebody stepped in with the sales tax form.
Sorry.
That's okay.
And a second?
I'll second. Mark?
Thank you.
Those in favor?
Aye.
I abstain. Thank you.
Thanks.
So I did cover the union. Any discussion on that? Stay tuned. Jersey Hill Engineering Study kickoff meeting was May 28th. Also attended by Jeremy. We do have a contract to approve that was emailed to you on the 7th of June. The board's pleasure.
Well, Kate sent you an email this afternoon. And I have mentioned several times over the last 2.5 months. There were 3 things that were never just stated that were in the RP. 25% concept plans, project costs, design standards, New York State Department of Transportation, local railroads. Now, I see the cost estimates in their thing, but I do not see 25% concept plans, and I do not see design standards, New York State Department and local roads. I do not see that.
Yes, Councilman, we just, I got that email this afternoon too. There was some confusion early on when I talked to them about the 25% as to what that meant, 25%.
Yeah, I don't know what it means either, but
Right.
But
so-
in my world.
Yep.
In my world, when we're applying for grants every year. When you see. A standard like New York State Department of Transportation, local rural roads.
So,
If we need to have a grant, or if we're gonna go to Senator Pam Helmick. this design better comply with.
Sure, so the way we thought we would handle it is one thing is I need to get an understanding from the board, and it sounds like you're the kind of expert on the. What they're actually doing as far as the slope, which spots, but my problem is. I wanna be able to identify, if we're talking about 25%, we can add that, I already added the sentence you had about, the compliance with the standards. No problem, we'll have that added into their letter, which now is attached as exhibit A, I think. But what I really wanna understand is if what are they actually doing? Because you got 6 spots, and then you got 2. They're gonna do 2 studies, and then we're gonna get down to 1. Is the concept plan, the 25%, is that for the whole 6? Is that for 2? Is that for the end one?
I have
wanna
no
make sure
idea.
I'm clear.
I have to defer to Chris here.
We got rid of that language because to me, it was just like, so I thought this was better, this new letter, because it identified it better, but I agree with you, we can put it back in, no worries.
Okay, so. I'm getting in deeper than I should here. Whoever wrote the RFP, which I assume was the county public works,
County engineer.
the county engineer that wrote the RFP. Had something in mind.
Yeah, and I talked to him. Yep.
Okay,
What he basically said is, if this is gonna go on to a second phase, and this wasn't clear on the RFP language or the language that came initially. But if it's gonna go on to a second phase, we want it to be a quarter of the way done. So, we're all, we're on the path to a design plan that was,
but I don't know how you measure that.
Exactly, that was the reason why we kind of brought it up, but I think it's okay, I think what we'll do is just. I'll talk to Chris and I'll talk, or Supervisor Bastola and figure out with B&L exactly at what phase of this, 6 to 2 to 1 that we're doing a
Excuse me.
25%.
I don't have a hang up on the 25%, other than it was in the RFP.
Yeah, good point, yep.
It was in the RFP. I'm normally not a level person, okay? But I went through the RFP and I went through all 4 responses.
Yep.
And the one I care about, I'm gonna give you this,
Okay, great.
is.
Yep, added it in already, yep. Having B&L add that into their.
That, I'm sure is gonna come up again, if we apply for a grant.
Sure.
In the Jersey Hill, the WQIP is part of that. And we certainly want to make certain of that. So they are on bid list for the county and the state. This is a
Yeah, it's a referable
very rough.
it's not clear to me what the 25% was either.
You understand that?
But the standards are standards.
Yeah.
And I just have a bad feeling that the design had better comply.
Yep.
Now, I have no reason to believe they're not going to comply. They
Right.
don't, have no reason to believe they don't intend. But they didn't say so in their original RFP
So
response,
we'll make sure that's.
and they didn't say so in that statement of work.
And just a little more background. So for a county project, the Honeywell Inlet over a county road, not a town road, the same people are doing that project.
Mhm.
The same lead engineer, the same team will be working on that in 2025.
I would like to say that whatever agreement we come up with, yeah. In my mind, if we've got 6 bad locations on the road, there may not be 6 to 2 to 1. There may not be one solution for all 6.
And
There
it's-
may be
and it's been
different
discussed.
solutions for 2 of them, and another solution for another 3, and a different solution for 1.
And hopefully to do
Whatever.
a cost estimate for each of the alternatives. I think that's where in my mind it goes down to 2. They're gonna say, okay, we're gonna develop these and we list these as alternatives. And I think that's where the 25% would get applied. However I'm a
know.
litigator, so I hate words like that and, trying to, when there's no metric, I hate it, but
Well,
make it as good as I
you're
can.
taking me back in time. I'm into limnology and biology now, not engineering, but
Yeah.
I was there. I spent my whole career there. So the standard is measurable. It is or isn't, is black and white.
Yep.
the 25%, I don't. I have confidence. I know Rick knows them, the county is, I have confidence with this contractor. That's not my concern. It's just. Want
I
to make
think
sure,
maybe the contractor might have realized it's a little.
I just
hard,
want to
you know,
make sure
figure out what 25%.
so for you, I can say this. I want to make sure the i's are dotted and the t's are crossed.
No worries, yep.
Yep.
Absolutely. So this project, like Rick was saying, there's more than one way to skin a cat. They're already scheduled for surveyors here within the next 4 weeks. And then they need to do soil samples and some geo drilling to see what they're actually working with underground. To actually determine which solution is gonna be the best for which area.
I mentioned, not to interrupt you, but to interrupt you. In all the years, a lot of years that I did soil borings. 2 soil borings never came close to $12,000. I'm not quite sure. These gold plated soil borings or what, but, that one for some reason just slapped me in the face. I don't know, and if there's 6 conditions. Only 2 soil borings, and I used to rent a rig for the day. And we get as many holes as we could. To collect as much data as we could, you know, but, for some reason that number stuck out. And maybe totally legitimate and fine, but. It just flashed in my eyes, right?
Off the top of my head, I can't recall the amount of actual samples they're gonna take, but no, that's the direction they were headed in order to come up with a concept that was good, that's gonna suit our budget. They're aware of our budget constraints, and he said that they were shooting for end of August to have preliminary expenditure for us.
This whole project's set up so that once it's budget time, we can get some preliminary numbers to see if we're gonna do something.
Sure.
And put it in our 25 budget.
Sheila,
Yeah.
was there more detail in exhibit A?
Yeah, yes.
Number of soil samples.
Oh, no, but I was gonna, there is another exhibit on there, that exhibit.
Yeah, I saw that.
That have a,
Everybody's flavor.
I mean, we can propose whatever, you know, if there's, if we think that that's you with your expertise, no, thinks that that's not enough. We can talk to him about that, you know?
Well, no, it just struck me as a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah.
And I used to rent a rig for the day for like $2,500, you know. Then again, they would continue the sampling, is it,
What year?
okay,
I'm just curious.
oh, probably 10 years.
Okay, all right, that helps.
I could have said 30,
Good. They had them.
but that.
Other discussion. Board's pleasure.
Can we postpone this until it gets modified, or
I don't recommend it because we'll be pinching some timelines
then what are we approving?
to execute the contract. They can't do anything until they have a contract.
Okay, but
We have to sign a contract.
but the contract's not, okay, I'm just trying to,
Yeah, so
are we approving something that hasn't been completed yet?
what we're approving
contract.
is the contract that's been circulated with the additions that we're talking about. There's also, I wanted to add that they haven't given me, they gave me all of the insurance certificates except the professional liability insurance. That's the only thing that's missing. But, you know, what we can do is you can authorize Chris with those additions to sign it or not.
Well, I think we're headed where we want to go. Question they have. The cart for the horse.
Here.
That kind of premise, I think the motion. to approve it.
Second,
I'll second.
in favor?
Aye.
Carries, thank you.
So what are we officially approving?
We're approving the contract with the exhibits that I'll provide. We're gonna have them add the two items that we discussed, the road standards and the 25% to determine what part that applies to. And I'm gonna make sure that when it comes to Chris to sign, all of the exhibits are there with respect to insurance.
That works for me.
We're basically approving, authorizing Chris to sign the contract.
Okay, and who made the motion in second?
Rick and
made the
Mark.
Motion.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Mark second.
second.
Any, those in favor?
Thank you.
Did we vote?
Yep.
We did.
Aye.
It carried, unanimous.
Yep.
Okay, moving along, the AEDs were delivered and we were actually upgraded, they were out of stock, so we saved $1,400 off the bat, and then we saved another $600 with the upgrade. Wow. And we got the infant paddles as well, so training will be announced. And more good news, the speed limit from New York State got reduced, so we appealed their denial. And that was a success, I'm really pleased about that. And it's because we did an in-person meeting, so maybe with the boat wash station, if I have nothing else to do, I might make a phone call.
On these grants, you have to realize there are factors that have nothing to do with any of this. They have stuff to do with the state's finances and other factors. So they have their own schedule, they have their own priorities.
Okay.
We will get that. I just don't know when.
So do we have to do a new sign?
I've got to talk to the county because technically those are their signs.
Those are county roads.
So, yeah, I'll have to see whether they want to do that or if they would like us to do that, but I'm thinking that there's one right here about 50 feet from the stop sign, which makes absolutely no sense. Because at that point, who's doing 40 miles an hour if they're planning on stopping? So, in my mind, I'm gonna pull this sign out right here and send it around the corner and reuse it.
I thought that was the either or, you know,
Yeah.
you either do 40 or.
Stop, one or the other.
Unfortunately, that's how it exists nowadays.
That's true.
Again, it was good news and pleased to move that along.
So, just to confirm that, they did approve it, but that's not in the entirety of what the letter says.
Is there a caveat in there?
It's the same as when we've done anything else with DOT. I get a letter saying that they're approving it, but they're processing it and filing it with the Secretary of State. And I'll be sent something when the Secretary of State has that filing. Installation of the signs can follow at that time.
Sorry.
So this was a letter from the lead engineer that we had a meeting with.
And he had sent me an email 4 days prior to the email to Eileen saying it would be mid-June, so I don't know how that factors into all this. So all I got is a bunch of paper. Done.
The sign stays for now.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, new business. Set public hearing to override the tax levy.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
That carries. Resolution, set public hearing for June 10th for another septic placement variance on Ross Road. I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Third one. Propane contract with NOCO. Is there a motion?
I'd like-
The last resolution says you're gonna set a public hearing on June 10th. Today's the 10th.
Oh, that's a typo. That's a good catch, good catch. That's our planning board in action.
Well, that's what we meant.
July 8th. If I had read the whole thing, July 8th. No, that's great. Thank you.
Love it.
Glad you're here, Ted. We will certainly change that resolution.
So,
I'll catch it. I'll get it when I'm doing it.
Can we discuss it now? Or no?
what's that, the septic system?
Probably.
We usually do a motion, a second, then discussion, however you want to do it.
Go, what's the cost of?
My understanding is that we have a gas company that sells the town gas and gives a discount to the employee. Right, in my mind, that's not right.
Because
Okay. Because if the gas company can save money and give it to the town employees, shouldn't the savings that the gas company is seeing benefit the entire town? And I passed this by somebody at the school that I attended in January. And they I forget.
Like Bastion?
That's correct. Said, no, that's a no-no. So I didn't tell them where I was from, but I think we may be toying where we shouldn't be toying. Like the dumpster thing. Like the dumpster thing, sure is.
This is coming up in our union negotiations too, so yeah, this is a good point.
I mean, I understand, it's nice to think, well, you know, we're kind of getting the employees, thank, you know, and I understand that mentality and like it. But not everyone will see it that way. Yes,
Board members get it as well.
I'm sorry.
Do the board members? get it
Yes.
as well?
They could.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
So
it's off. I don't like it at all.
I don't.
We do, but I don't think it's appropriate.
Yeah, no, that's really a good point. I'm really glad you brought it up.
Never thought about that, right, but.
Those. And that will help us with something else.
Those are called shadow sales, and I do know specifically that there are other companies, Cellular is one of them, that provides discounts to employees for shadow sales.
Correct.
Because what it does is it increases their footprint. That's the reason for the incentive to go further. So my question is, you know, do we need to look at that? Is there New York state law that,
That's why I'm glad she was here.
right?
I don't know offhand, but I'm happy to look at it. It's a great issue.
I would
And then
prefer
also
that,
when
I would
you're
prefer that you
creating
did.
a contract, and you're
Shadow
getting
sales, I've never heard of that.
Right. Right,
Could you,
good question.
would the board be okay with Sheila looking into that?
Oh, yeah.
That would save me. However
I
many
never
hours she
heard that
takes,
shadow
and then it's
sales.
done
Never
correct.
heard
Yeah.
I also, I thought it was with Superior Propane.
It was, but the new company came in much lower,
30
regardless of any
Yeah.
employee or. So it's really all about the price. That's why I'm selecting Novo, and it's a 2-year contract, so I don't have to do this again next year for the board. It's a 2-year contract and it's substantially cheaper, so we're locking in, which is tremendous. I don't see propane going down in 2 years.
So the underground tank, how does that work? Cause we own that tank. Okay.
What's your question? How does that work?
So if I change propane companies, the company takes my tank, gives me a credit for what's in there. And the new company brings me a tank and fills it. I get a credit, I have to pay the new company. We have an underground tank that is our property. And it was,
We mean the town.
we needing the town.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. And so that also was part of the negotiation in previous years, was because we own the tank. We're not paying, you know, Superior in this case for infrastructure. We provide the infrastructure.
What about the testing of the
So
tank?
we own the
Right.
tank, we own the contents of the tank.
Yeah.
And if someone else comes and puts product in it, we pay for the product that's put in it. Much simpler that way.
Okay,
But I don't know what what is NOCO's policy on that? I mean, I've heard of this before where they gotta have proof of when the tank was put in,
Correct.
condition of the tank,
Yeah.
all that stuff. So it's just gonna cause us a hassle.
Well, and my other question is, how much propane are we using here?
That's a figure off the top of my head.
Because we walked away from propane when we did the geo.
At the highway barns.
Yours is above
Oh,
ground.
yeah, I know we use propane like for the water, for the, you know, both pump houses, but, my understanding is we're not using any propane here.
Is yours above ground over there?
Yeah,
So that's not a hassle. We need.
right,
in-
right, and the two water, pump houses are above ground.
I'm not sure if the court still uses any propane. It probably would be minimal, but they may.
Don't know.
No?
It's, I don't know, it's an instant hot water and I know that that's electric, but I don't know what runs the baseboard.
Okay. I don't either.
I'd have to figure that out.
Well, if it's our tank, then what's the skin off of their nose? If there's an issue, it's gonna be our issue. not theirs.
Oh, no, they're reliable.
They're
if it
liable
blows
because
up,
they
yeah.
put it in.
Well,
Yeah.
it's off.
Well, if it leaks, any of that, they're liable.
Yeah.
They do blow up. I saw it.
They float up, they do all kinds
Yeah.
of things.
Just think.
Might have to do a little more research.
We have to table that till next month.
The block. Budget modifications, general fund and highway fund. Make that motion for budget transfers.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Those in favor?
Alright.
Both resolutions pass. You did get the Ewing property water district overview packet. We'll have a resolution, but perhaps let's look at some discussion on that project.
And I think the Ewings are here today. so
Yes,
I think-
thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you.
As I understand it, they want to relocate the town's water line to construct their lake house and to, in the process, combine two parcels of property.
Yes.
And the address is here. If anybody know, familiar with these, it's 5979, 136, and 5985. So they got a whole list of approvals they'll have to get, involving seeker, obviously. Subdivision approval, site plan, re-subdivision approval, site plan. approval. So I just thought it'd be a good idea if the town heard about the project. Or we're gonna let someone move our water line to get the adequate amount of supervision, insurance coverage, indemnification. Those are all the kinds of issues that are raised in the, both in the resolution and in the agreements. I think this isn't, this isn't the norm. We usually would do this ourselves or, if it was needed. This is a definitely discretionary for the town board, but that said, I think not only is the owner been cooperative, but he's willing to pay for everything. So my costs, the engineering costs, it won't be anything out of the town's pocket. So if the town's okay with it, I'm certainly okay with it, based on all those conditions that are listed in the agreement. Maybe the Ewings want to add something.
Well, I've got one item, just from everything I've dealt with the Ewings and heard about, and I haven't even met them till tonight. They've been great with everyone, and I thank you for that. Making it easy.
Good.
Thank you.
It's, I could just describe it a little bit, it's a very unique property because we bought one property in 20 and then. Kind of ran into getting the other property after that, when the Gordons moved down to their permanent location down south, they took it up our lovely weather. But it's an almost 2-acre property with 185 foot linear frontage. The unique part is what Pickle Point Road comes down, the sewer and the water chase where that used to be. both of our properties go right from road all the way. So essentially you have one house is in front of the water and sewer, one house behind the water and sewer. And to leave the water line to the east, it takes this nice huge property and jams the whole, what house we want to live in there towards the lake. I don't want to be right. Neighbor on either side where they want us there. Right where the water line is. So, last house. Properly, certainly not the town's issue with the water line. It's kind of how it was, but it is it is a unique type of. There's no access roads. There's no. It's everything that's going to be done. It's right there. I do have the. My wife and I are doing graphics, so and then downstairs and slides. You get propaganda when I come to your meeting. So, I think happened to come up with this one this morning, but that'll show you where the lines are now and what we want to do and where they kind of go through on it. So it basically the water line crosses the sewer line to the north of the property. I just want to straighten it out and have it cross the south side of the property. And it picks up moving the house back off 17 feet, which is desirable. Yeah, it just makes it, it's perfect then.
They're willing to provide, right now, there's 2 easements to the town, that they will provide after the subdivision gets approved. And obviously, all this is contingent, because, they can't subdivide the lot, then, we're kind of at a standstill. So we're gonna just have 1 easement to replace the 2 that are there.
Safe to move sewer and water both,
No, I'm not touching that sewer. That sewer's
just the water, so I think.
stuff runs down.
That's-
With the water line. I know there's a lot of official stuff that need to go through the actual moving of the line. I think it's going west.
So I have a question that's really not related to anything you've addressed. So there's a handful of other houses that are on the water line that would be impacted while this was occurring. Would they be impacted for a matter of hours, a matter of days, a matter of weeks? I'm just curious what the impact would be to the other properties.
From my understanding, and again, talking to my builders as far as how it would work. We have not talked to an official contractor yet on this. They put the new water line in, they put it right next to where it's gonna get hooked up on both ends. It gets certified, inspected, if it gets set, then they'll have to shut the water off down the road, and it's gonna interrupt it, but it's.
I mean, we just have to look at across,
Yeah, and I think Sheila has addressed.
Yeah, we talked to Lavella about this, who, because they
Yep.
did all the water line, we're presuming we're gonna hire them to do that. We have not hired them to do that yet. We're kind of waiting to see if the board's okay with this. But that's where the escrow would go, is to pay Lavella's fees. But what they said is, we should require their contractor to actually, I don't know if it was Lavella or the code enforcement officer, one of them, talked about that we should require that they use a temporary water source. So it is just a matter of hours. Now, I don't know a lot about that, but it
Well-
sounded like that was a reasonable.
I'm not trying to engineer it here. To me, that would be a priority. That's all.
That's been discussed. Yep.
And that's in the contract. Yeah, that is definitely in.
I did see language that says that the affected residents would not be without water for more than 3 hours. That is in the contract. So they would have.
I thought I saw that.
So,
So I've got a question. So there's 2 properties today and there's 2 dwellings today. So we do a partial combination, I think.
It's a re-subdivision.
Re-subdivision.
It's a
Um,
combination, yeah.
Yeah, it's basically the same, and the reason it's important is it will require, we're gonna do some. Seeker review and, hopefully with for the whole project, so, it gets all done at this initial phase, but yeah, we're not just combining it with the. I know sometimes the assessors just do that, but this is gonna be a little more official.
And then, as I read the, contract language and the resolution, one of the houses will be eliminated. And it was my understanding that we can only have one dwelling on a parcel. Talk me through that.
So there's one house is really close to the lake, one house is farther away. The new dwelling will be towards we're living in a house that's away from the lake. The first house comes down, the new house gets built. After the new house is built, they have everything that they had jammed in that house gets built in the new house so they can breathe. And then that house comes.
Okay, it should reflect that in the proposal. That there's two steps to demolition, one now, one later.
Timeline.
Yeah.
Scope of work.
Yeah, cause that second one, so there's also a water hookup to that second house. And so that's part of the engineering too, right?
So, and I talked to Joe about that as far as, cause when we sold our home right there and moved here. It's my address. 59, but 79, because all the water and the sewer would hook up to 59.5.
Right.
The sheriff's department could help with that.
But it's actually gonna be 59.79, that'll be the exact address, so.
There's someone at the sheriff's department that takes care of those things.
So you because we're kind of in the same situation, if there's amendments to this, we can still authorize Chris to sign, I think that's okay.
Yeah.
But I want to be clear, you want it just to identify that there will be at some point, maybe 3 parcels, will there ever be three properties on this? No, there won't, so just basically identify, the
Right.
2 structures max.
Well, it says owner seeks to combine the parcels, demolish an existing residence and construct a single family residence on the combined
So
parcel.
say 2.
When it gets to the planning board, they're gonna start asking a lot of questions.
Yes.
Am I right?
We've reviewed with the applicants and with Joe. We don't foresee a problem
Okay.
Is there,
from the planning board.
would that be happy, you'd be happy with this, if I just put it there like 2 demolitions or?
Subsequent.
Completion of the.
Subsequent to, yeah,
Yep.
Just
within
to
a
make sure
reasonable
that gets,
amount of time, yeah. I would, feel more comfortable, seeing
Sure.
that in the.
Yep.
That's a big problem. That'll be fun.
I think Joe, I enjoyed meeting with Joe. I don't know if it's because it doesn't have all the weird stuff that we usually miss.
Something cool, new construction.
Yeah.
What's,
At my expense too. That's the other expense.
what's in front of the house? Is that a big deck
Yes.
with the blue square in it?
That's a pool.
Is that a pool?
That'd be my guess.
Eventually,
Yeah,
that's.
eventually.
Cool.
That's the property now is this. So this is the,
You're fine.
so, this is the house that's coming down first.
Right.
And this is where we're staying right now. So this house comes down, the new house goes in here, then this house comes down after that.
And you gotta take a bunch of trees out.
Streets.
Let's do that.
They're always in the wrong.
Do that. Okay.
But a lot of the stuff in the back is.
Stays. Mike, question.
Any chance of finding someone that might want that nice structure?
Pick it up.
That will take, that's it. To have somebody, I talked to like Habitat for Humanity.
I was
any of
thinking-
those places, because the house, both of the houses in the taken down are not. They're odd houses, how they were built, because they put foundations and things well in those days, but windows, stuff, oh, great,
I give you my address.
I'm in the process of figuring out a bunch of places that have to come in.
Yeah, so that's
Stuff, so
good optics there too.
because it's. There's just lots of stuff. Like, they won't touch property, they won't go on because of insurance. So, I said, if you wanna take it all out, bring it to us.
Okay,
We'll
so
figure it.
my other question is, whose responsibility is the communication
To the existing homeowners.
to everybody? Yeah.
Well, the city is gonna be involved to some extent because that's their water district.
Right.
And they've been in the loop the whole way.
What do you mean that's their water district? That's our water district.
I think Kate Crowley will be the communications director.
So Bill Grove is doing the engineering site plan for it.
Okay,
And I know he would be the one that would do the Department of Health.
right.
Sign offs and all that, and I kind of got the feeling from Bill that he knew what the thing is. But we had, when we first started looking at this project, my builder brought in everybody. Joe was there, the water department, got everybody that we needed to and said, okay, here's what we're looking at. What do we need to do? What do we not need to do? Who needs to be what? And the city water, he has lots of stipulations. He does not want this. But I'm sure there's a.
Craig and David were there? Craig and David were there?
That's a great point. We did talk in the contract about it is ultimately his responsibility to work with blah, blah, blah. But I think you're right. I'd like to, we should talk about who we want to actually send out the letters. Is that the town?
Exactly.
I mean, I think it should be the town.
Because, one of the parcels is the 6 and 1, and, aren't those short-term rentals? And so there's non-resident people in there that are gonna lose water service for a part of a day.
Yeah.
But they're gonna be surprised by it. And that
Maybe two
whole,
communications, one saying, the town board is, authorize us, here's the steps. And then a second communication that goes out on this day.
Yeah. yeah, because people renting houses get, crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, when their life is impacted. Right, because they, okay, thank you.
So I'm gonna be really specific in that sentence then.
Okay. Thank you.
Who's the builder of the house?
B&B builder.
So these two lots are contiguous, right, side by side? And the water line is going through them,
Well, it's right in front of one and right behind.
yes, but. So this is a question for Kate. My understanding, and this predates you, because I attended all of the La Bella project meetings
Bless your heart.
for years. And I thought it was my understanding that water could come from either side. There, like, for example, on our road, there's an extra connection from the lake line to the line on 36, so that if we get our water from say we get it from the north, if something happened north of us, it would come down 36, come down to Joe Bear and go back. In other words, water can come from the north, water can come from the south.
Yeah.
So if you shut it off here, it can come around this way. Would that,
I had, that's Bill Grove, because I wondered that same thing. I don't know whether, so does it get?
yeah, but I mean, you're talking about
Yeah.
a contiguous piece of the water line.
No, what happens is, because of where the water line is, the folks that are in that 600 are connected, they're like interim. So that's a really good question.
I don't know that specific area, but in general was my understanding that the system was designed to survive a point of failure. So Rick lives north of me. Water's coming from the north. They had to shut it off. I get water from the south instead of the north.
It's, so the depth is where the connections are.
I don't know, but that was my
No,
understanding.
I'm telling you, I looked at Craig's, email.
It was supposed to be a what would you call it? Fault tolerant system.
It is. But if we have a break, depending on where the break is, you could lose water service for a short period of time. Because you have to turn it off at both ends, so the water
Yes.
doesn't flow.
Between the shut off valves. Yeah,
I think,
yeah, I
I
understand.
think what's gonna happen is because of, at one point it's gonna have to shut off before it hooks back up and where it gets turned off, so when that, in order to stop that flow, it's gonna have to be turned off at two places. So,
Well, it depends where the shut off valves are. If you were fortunate and there was a shut off valve on the north and a shut off valve on the south. Like I said, for 3 years, 3.5 years, I went to these monthly meetings.
So
You should be able to turn it off on both sides. And the water should come around.
it does.
A bypass.
It does, but because of where the two gate valves are, here it is right here.
It's a Lavella question.
These bolts are all in. Craig's showing you where your two.
I have not seen this.
Okay.
That's,
The two reds are the shutoffs, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's not bad.
Sure, that's it.
To be honest with you, that's better than I thought.
See,
Because if that's what the people are, you're talking about,
yeah,
I'm going to. I mean, that's.
Yeah, it's a finite number of.
Yeah.
What about it?
Those are the shut off.
Oh, the red?
Yes.
You can
And
see
where's
right
his
now.
property?
And I have an
His
extra-
property's right here. I gotta put my glasses on. So there's the demo. Yeah, I see demo. Demo.
Right, it's okay for me to.
That's his
Yeah.
property here. So this is just north of his property, so where's this one? This one?
And the next shut off is down here?
Correct. And that's
Yeah.
where the short-term rentals. are.
Okay, but this could be shut off.
Yep.
And a new shut off valve we
That's
put
an
in
excellent
here,
idea.
And then it's.
So,
just this section. was
Yeah.
shut off.
Correct.
We'd have to add a shut off valve.
Yeah.
Just have to add a shut off valve. And then there would be no impact to the other properties.
You have to shut it off.
Yeah, shut up, shut up.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Do as you wish, but one more time. I lived it. And when the line was being tested and the line first went public, we had problems. We had a few issues to deal with,
bump it around.
so very few. I watched Bella and Fine Line do this several
We'll
times.
see, fine line.
And I know that it works. So what Chris just showed me is there's a shut off on the north side, there's not a shut off close on the south side. But if there was a shut off valve on the south side of their property, you should be able to turn the water off during the area that needs the new line and not impact anybody else. But I am not an engineer. That's a Lavella question.
This is pretty minimal.
Okay, we've had some great discussion.
I make the motion, we accept it.
I'll second that.
I would like to say, I think it's our duty if we have a resident that's willing to do it by the board. We should be applying.
Yes.
Absolutely. Said that right from the beginning. Really?
Yeah.
Doing it right, doing it right. That's a benchmark situation for us, and my hope for the rest, if we are having one like this again, it's still the same way.
We got precedents now.
Well, that's the whole thing. Exactly. Yep. It could very well happen again.
And maybe long term, he wants to be on the planning board.
Yeah.
I did my years on the Richmond.
I retired on that.
You would have to talk to Jennifer on that.
Worth the shot.
Tell you where it goes.
Oh, rats.
Ed Jackson's not coming to our meetings.
Well done, right?
Okay.
I'm ready, I'm just ready, more Those in favor?
I,
Aye. That carries. Yay, congratulations.
Next,
Okay,
But Sheila, you'll check with Abellas to see if there's an option.
Oh, yeah, I mean, as soon as we retain them, they can, yeah, they don't even.
Yeah.
Don't need me anymore,
Yeah.
they're gonna do their engineering stuff. Right.
I could be completely wrong, but I believe all they have to do is install one more shut-off valve, and they could just turn the water off on their two parcels and leave everybody else. I'm not guaranteeing that,
But
but
they're still
that
gonna-
is my,
They're still gonna. lose
that is
water.
my understanding,
They're still gonna. lose
and that would
water.
prevent a whole bunch of other stuff.
We want to do it as cheaply as possible. So, moving right along. We did have Bill Grove, give us a little bit of feedback on our archaic town code. And I'd like to request the planning board to review and update the town code, with our whole code book needs review. And that's just one to discussion with the board.
So I don't know whether to ask you or Ted. But if we were to do that, would that eliminate most of these septic system variance requests?
Absolutely.
I'd like to ask a question. You say you want us to mirror the New York State? I mean,
Or take a
I would
look
like
at
that
other
not to be-
towns,
Pardon?
or take a look at other towns.
I would like that. I mean, you're telling us what to do, right? Update the town code to mirror New York State sewer septic. Planning board doesn't have to do anything if that's what you're instructing to be done.
I was just
So
putting that on the
if
table.
if you want to change that law to the state, you go ahead. But if the planning board wants to receive this, I request you remove that. Just let us look at the law, let us.
We can vote on that suggestion right now. Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with you, Ted. The planning board will revise the town code per their,
We'll suggest a revision to the town.
and Sheila will also look at it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's,
I'm not sure 10 feet is.
yeah, right.
So, right. So I'm saying-
Sure, and then could you query the other towns and see what they've got? Cause
Well, so we'll do.
that'd be great.
But I'd like you to strike that to mirror the New York State.
Well, it's not a resolution, it's just a new business.
It's a request to the town board.
Correct.
Or to the planning board, so.
Okay.
Requesting that you.
Would you like a formal, would you like a formal letter or email?
Yeah, email's fine.
Okay.
As long as it's from the town board officially.
Town board okay with me doing that?
Yep.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Makes sense.
New York State building code is always more stringent. It's unbelievable. That's right. Dealt with it for years. To have something even more stringent than that is like ridiculous.
Approval of the bills.
Motion to approve the bills.
Terry seconds.
In favor?
All right.
It carries. I have three privileges on the floor, if I can go in. New gardener Susan Crane started, Canada's residents, doing a great job. Number two, slight conflict possible. New York State harassment training and workplace violence. I set up those trainings today. Just got the email today. July 16th at 9 AM and then 10 AM. Unfortunately, that's the same day we scheduled chip sealing journey.
No, that's,
July 16th?
end of July.
Oh, it changed. Okay, good. Even better. Good update. So that is required training for New York State employees. And when board members attend that training, as some of you have, that reduces our risk. It's a good thing. So all board members, all employees for sure.
And will you still accept,
harassment? Absolutely. Absolutely.
I got it.
So you'll send us an email, we'll get a little
Done it
closer.
twice already. You know,
Yep.
do it a third
I
time.
just did it. I just got the email today and I didn't want to wait too long because some people spend on vacations, but July 16th in the morning. Not to worry about chip sealing. That's a good thing. On a sad note, Stanley Proctor, long-term resident, former employee of the town, passed away Saturday evening. And we'll have a resolution of sympathy next month. I just found out about it. Privilege of the floor. Thoughts about Stanley, what he did?
So I went up to Monroe County Water Authority. Last week and listened to the copper and lead. Law revisions. Monroe County Water Authority does not know yet what it's the second subsequent revisions are going to be. What they're trying to do, throughout their, district where they actually serve the resident. They're trying to locate and mitigate as much lead, copper, and galvanized steel, service on both sides of the water hookup. As I was sitting there, we're considered a wholesale customer through, Richmond. As I was sitting there, it occurred to me that it is one of the real benefits of us being on a new water system. If we do not have this issue within, Canada Water District number 1. I do, however, want to look at, communications that we can do and add either to the website, or, as, community, announcements. That residents, be aware of steps, within their houses. Because I do remember back when Chris Singer and Lisa Bennett, they were asked by the county to look at the number of houses that were built between X date and Y date. And it's because of this new legislation that's coming through as a result of Flint, Michigan. So, I'm gonna pull some, informational items and hand them to Eileen and ask her to post them on the website. If you can think of other things that we can do to educate, residents, I'm listening. I think it's an important one, especially for people with young children in the house.
Excellent. Thank you.
It doesn't have anything to do with wells though, just public water.
It's any water, in the house that are using their old, lead pipes. And like I say, I'll grab some more information on it.
Okay,
We mention that each year when we do the water quality report out to the residents. I just think we could add a couple of things to the website.
okay.
Privilege of the floor. Motion to adjourn. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
I
Aye. Thank you, everyone.
thank you.
Good meeting.
Yeah, it's great. It's everybody, everybody